one of her friends named Ijewele, who shortly after giving birth to a baby girl had asked the author how to raise her baby girl to be a feminist. Adichie's no-holds-barred suggestions included teach her to love books, never speak of marriage as an achievement, and because you're a girl is never a reason for anything. Coming from one of the most accomplished writers of her generation and a vocal feminist, this is a book you want to read if you have a girl or even a boy to raise. Never Look an American in the Eye by Oke Ndibe. Engaging, funny, charming and revealing, Oke Ndibe's memoir tells his move from Nigeria to America, where he came to discover himself in new and fascinating ways. This book tells stories of Ndibe's relationships with Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka and other literary figures. It examines the differences between Nigerian and American etiquette and politics while considering American stereotypes about Africa and vice versa. It's an immigrant's tale, the story of a born writer, a rebel with a cause, a Nigerian who also became an American.
When I was writing this book, the working title was Going Dutch and Other American Misadventures. It's a book that looks at my experiences in America, and I've had quite a few really amazing experiences, including being arrested in America 2 weeks after I arrived there. I'd been arrested for bank robbery, or being questioned for bank robbery, and so on. And so I decided that, having written my second novel, Foreign Gods, Inc., that it was an organic development if I examined my own personal life in America. And this book again became important because I had spent half of my life in America. And so I said I have to mark that anniversary by writing, reflecting on my American experiences. So the title actually comes from advice that an uncle of mine gave me when I was leaving for America. And he said to me, please don't look any American in the eye, because every American carries a gun. And if you look them in the eye, they will think you are being provocative and they will shoot you. And of course, my uncle had never been to America. And so the day I was arrested by the police because they suspected that I had robbed the bank, I was not making eye contact with the police officer as he questioned me. And that actually increased his suspicion of me.
Making Africa Work. This book, authored by Nigeria's former president Olusegun Obasanjo together with Greg Mills, the author of Why Africa is Poor and What Africans Can Do About It, Jeffrey Herbst, CEO of Newseum in Washington, and Dickie Davis, a retired Major General in the British Army, explores how Africa can be changed through effective and visionary leadership, applicable strategies, and global best practices. Envisaging the impending population explosion about to be experienced by Africa, the book offers ideas on how to ensure growth beyond commodities, create jobs on the continent, and get African leaders to focus on managing economic changes. Facts versus Fiction. The True Story of the Jonathan Years, Chibok, 2015, and The Conspiracies by Reno Omokri. This book is daring, defiant, and controversial. You can't sit on the fence with this one. You either love it or you want to fling it. Reno Omokri, who was the spokesman of Nigeria's former president Goodluck Jonathan, narrates conspiracies surrounding the kidnapping of the Chibok girls that shook the world, the Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria, the role of Barack Obama's government in the outcome of Nigeria's 2015 elections, and the eventual loss of the election by Goodluck Jonathan. The book made the Amazon #1 bestseller list in conspiracy theory. Religion and the Making of Nigeria by Olufemi Vaughan. Using diverse archival sources, Olufemi Vaughan, a Jeffrey Canada Professor of African Studies and History, explores Nigeria's social, religious and political history from the early 19th century to the present in this riveting book that dares to address some of the most sensitive issues at the core of Nigeria's existence. In Religion and the Making of Nigeria, Olufemi Vaughan examines how Muslim, Christian and indigenous religious structures have provided the framework for the construction of contemporary Nigeria.
Oftentimes when people engage in the study, as the religious scholars engage, they tend to study the world religions separately, Christianity and Islam separately. And those who study indigenous religion separately. In this particular project, I brought all the three together because I think they're really very important. And I do this not as a student or a scholar of religion, but rather as a student and a scholar of politics and history. So the question here is not just simply the jihad of Usman Dan Fodio, it's also the coming of Christian evangelization. About the mid-19th century, as I documented quite extensively in the book, the Church Missionary Society started about the turn of the 19th century. The role of the Zaro coming from Freetown, Sierra Leone is extremely important. We need to understand the transformative impact of mission Christianity as foundational from Atlantic Yoruba communities in places like Lagos, Abeokuta, Badagry, moving southwards to other parts of the country, to what is today's middle belt of Nigeria, southeast Nigeria and central Nigeria, and even moving to the core north of Nigeria. The basic argument here is that those two world religions, before the imposition of British colonialism, were already well established in Nigeria. They were already shaping the character, the composition, the nature of the country in profound ways. One can't imagine educational institutions in southern Nigeria and central Nigeria, even in the core northern Christian regions of Nigeria, without taking very seriously the roles of Christian missions